Hello and welcome back to the channel. My name is Krashy, and today with me I have Luchi Boy.
Hello.
What's up, Luchi Boy? So yeah,
What's up, Krashy?
What up, my dude? This is the first time we've had Luche on, so that's cool. We're going to be doing kind of similar to how me and Spragels do it, where we have a couple videos, so check the link in the description and the pinned comment. We'll be talking about items and different things like that, but today we're going to talk about all the different Pokemon. We're going to give some light thoughts on the ones that are in the game and what we think they should do, or how we think they're performing. And yeah, let's jump into it. So I'm gonna jump this off. Where should we start? Do we want to start attacker or defender? I don't know why that seems like where I want to be at.
Let's start defender.
All right, let's start defender. So I'm just doing it in alphabetical order from the list. So I'm looking at UnitedDB. So we got Blastoise.
Yes,
yeah. So we have Blastoise, and dude, I gotta be honest, Blastoise is he's standing the test of time. He came out way OP, and they nerfed him.
Way overpowered.
But the fear of nerfs is they could suck, and he doesn't feel that way. Both of his builds
was a bug,
feel.
Remember, it was
a bug. It was a bug.
It was a bug.
Sure. Yeah, they got rid of all those Sylveon bugs recently too, didn't they?
Yeah, dude. Venusaur bug's coming next.
Yeah, Venusaur bug. Acting as not intended. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. What are you thinking? Because I feel like rapid spin, surf builds, no matter what you do with this character, feels really good.
So I've been playing a lot of Blastoise, especially now 5-mans lately, and I think Blastoise is in a really good spot. The early game's not as strong as one of the other defenders, obviously, right? But the late game with that Unite move is insane. It's insane. And rapid spin, hydro pump, rapid spin, water spout, surf, hydro pump. It doesn't matter what you choose. It's just such a strong character. It's insane.
Do you think that he's contending best Unite move in the game?
Yeah,
I think it is too. It's just such a massive impact. And then I was gonna say, if you have energy amp or you throw a buddy barrier on that, come on, dude, it's just crazy.
So strong.
So yeah, I don't know. As far as Blastoise goes, I think that he's kind of in a great position. He doesn't have the strongest early game of the defenders. But he's not weak in lane.
Would you say he's a contender for best defender?
Yeah, I definitely think so.
Yeah,
I think there's some preference there, but I think that Blastoise is pretty solid as a pick. Potentially.
Agreed, for sure.
All right, so let's talk about Crustal.
Crustal's
so weird. He's just weird, right? Listen, you know how I like to play Crustal. Yes. I just live in the top lane and I don't ever leave. And the crazy thing about that is it's like trolling, but it works. And
it does. It really does.
Unless you're X-Scissor, which not to say X-Scissor is bad. I think Stealth Rocks is great, but without X-Scissor, you can't really fight much. Kinda.
Yeah. Crustal's like a tank that's not a tank.
Yeah.
Crustal's like a split pusher, which is so interesting. I mean, look, if you kept Rock Slide when you leveled up, you would be a great tank. Be an amazing tank.
Yeah, you would.
But Stealth Rock just shreds objectives, man. It shreds them, and it's such a good split push character. I don't understand its design a little bit as a defender.
The cool thing to me though is that I feel like characters like this are great to exist in the game. It's just really early to have one of the 5 tanks be this kind of a character, because I know that later down the line I'm gonna love Crustal. I already do love Crustal, but I know he's gonna be man, look at how unique this is. And it's just right now it's just weird, because how do you tank as Crustal? You just,
I guess you have to go X's or Rock Tomb, right? It's the only way to be a tank,
I guess. I don't even know if Rock Tomb's the right play, because even what's the other one? Gosh, I can't think of the name. Yeah, even Shell Smash, at least you're getting a move speed buff out of it, which is still really beneficial. So I don't know. Crustal's a unique defender who's basically not a defender, but you can shred objectives with Stealth Rocks, and you can split push, and it's good. I like Crustal. It's just very interesting.
Yeah, I like the character. I think it's cool.
Do you think they need to change anything with it, or is this one of those things that's okay, it's unique, it is what it is, you have to learn how and when to use it?
I wonder if adding a slow to Stealth Rock would make it too OP, just because that way it's kind of tanking, it's kind of able to do something. I kind of have thought
that too,
but other than that, I think it's pretty well rounded, pretty well balanced character.
Same. All right, let's jump to Mammoof. Mammoof. This tank, dude, came out pretty balanced. I like the feel of it. It's got a little of that built-in clunkiness, but it also does a lot of CC and stuff. What do you think?
Yes, I think Mamoswine is balanced by its clunkiness, if that makes sense. Without it, if Earthquake was just Heavy Slam, Mamoswine would be broken. Yeah, it would be insane. I like Ice Fang a lot. I like Ice Skill Crash a lot. I think I like every move. I think I like every move on Mamoswine.
I do too. Yeah, I think that they're the kit design and the way they built it, where it's you have to have an ice and a ground move, That's cool.
Yeah.
Like I like that. I think that they built a lot of like interdependencies and synergies in the kit. Like it's cool.
Yeah.
His
Yeah,
ult,
and
his
the new
ult is
mechanic,
like
right?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. The
I
freezing
feel
of
like
goals.
I mean it's cool. Like I don't think it's like super impactful, but I think it's cool. I do feel like if they were going to change anything about him, and this is such a weird nitpick, give him like one more stomp on his ult. His ult just feels so short.
Yeah. Yeah.
For
I
someone
could see
that gets like 1 or 2 ults a game, I just want like at least one more like
or maybe like more than one knock up in the ult or something.
yeah, maybe like the third stomp is a knock up or so. I don't know. Like I really did.
Yeah.
It just feels like his ult's a little underwhelming, but otherwise he's pretty solid.
Yeah, I don't love evolving at level 10. I'm not a big fan of that, but
Yeah.
Mammoth pulls it off because the character's pretty strong all the way through the game.
Yeah, his early game, his lane is like really, really good. It's surprising.
Yeah.
All right, Slowbro. I feel like the defender that everybody loves to forget about, and I think is terribly underrated.
The most underrated Pokemon in the entire game.
Probably, actually. Like I feel like when people see this, it's like when I see a Gengar, that's how people feel about Slowbro, and it's like, dude, Slowbro's good, man. I really like this character.
Good. Yes, definitely. Like I think Slowbro is like. When I was solo queuing to Masters my first time playing the game, my go-to tank was Slowbro. I felt like I could do more. I felt like I could carry more with Slowbro than I could with Snorlax. You know what I mean? Like a solo queue environment.
I just think the fun thing about him is like he feels kind of damagey, like being ranged, and he brings a lot of CC to the table. And then the ult, bro, like the ult is so good for so many reasons. Like you can grab a Cinderace, a Venusaur, a Zera Aura, a Talonflame. You can grab Charizard out of ult. You can I did this recently. Like if Blastoise starts the uptick of his ult, you can cancel it. Like you pull him out of his ult. Like it's there's so many potential things you can do with this character, and
it's a free kill or a free ult cancel, which is just incredible. Incredible game. Like Cramorant into Slowbro can't do anything.
Yep. I mean, as long as the Slowbro player's competent and they can pull it off, it's really solid. I think realistically for the character, because it's not the strongest. Oh
no!
I think realistically they could maybe like up its defenses because I think it's like a numbers thing. But otherwise, like it just feels good to me. Like I don't really have any complaints.
That scares me a little bit just because
it does.
If they upped its defenses, Amnesia, Surf, like the amount you'd be healing would be incredible. Like it would be so hard to kill Slowbro, but maybe that's what it needs.
Yeah,
maybe that's what it needs.
And then Snorlax. Do we even need to say anything? Like. I
Just
feel like Snorlax will be tried and true unless they like nerf him really hard, and I don't think they will because he's just
by taking block out of the game.
Yeah, it's so funny. Like I feel like Snorlax is insane, but the meta's so open right now that I don't feel like he's a problem. Like even block being super strong, it doesn't feel like a problem. It's just incredibly strong.
Like as we said, Blastoise is a contender for Snorlax, which is kind of cool right now.
Yeah, and
it's cool to see that.
Maybe I should have brought this up though. I'm gonna go to bat for like off tank like damage builds. I think that they're not being utilized in the game as much, and I think like Mammoof, Slowbro, Snorlax, like even like Crustal and Blastoise, I feel like all of them have like a decent reason to try to do some damage, and like Flareon Lax is no, yeah, that's basically what I was getting at. Like Flareon Lax and like me doing my damage Slowbro build that I like, I genuinely think it's better than most all-rounders. So
yeah, agreed.
Really interesting how good the defender role in this game is.
Yeah, honestly. I mean, just to touch on Snorlax a little bit, right? Best early game probably in the game.
Yeah.
Maybe Cramorant rivals it a little bit, but not even really. Like Snorlax is unbelievable. The first Dreadnought fight, Heavy Slam, is ridiculous. Probably one of the greatest moves to get at level 6. The ultimate's a little like underwhelming, but it's fine. Yeah. Snorlax doesn't need it. It's fine.
Even then, I mean, like it's a nice knock up and a heal, so like it's still decent.
Yeah, definitely.
Let's move to attackers. I feel like there's a lot to talk about in here, so we're gonna kick off with
many attackers.
We're kicking off with Cinderace if we're going down the list, and I mean, my opinion, Cinderace is like, king of the jungle. Took a step back for a patch, and then king of the jungle again. This character is just so. The character at what it does, which is just like the true auto attacking role, like the true 80 carry role, it does it so well, and it's so simple. It's very, very simple.
It is, and I believe it all comes down to Cinderace's passive. I've been saying this for a long time. Cinderace's passive is one of the most bloated passives in the entire game. You get crit chance, life steal, attack speed, damage. You get so much when you get to low health, and it becomes so hard to box this character. And it being in the jungle gets it free XP curve, right? So it's really rough to deal with.
Yeah, and that's been the sentiment of like my whole I'm against attackers in the jungle. It's just like you curve their early game strength so hard, and it's tough.
Definitely.
The character has what's funny, we've talked about this, I feel like the character has a kind of wonky ultimate sometimes. Like sometimes it just like doesn't want to shoot.
Doesn't go off,
It's so bizarre, but when it works, it's really good.
Oh my god.
Oh yeah, I can only imagine.
Unbearable.
Now we're gonna jump to Cram, and I gotta say, I feel bad for Cram because Cram was like the true mage of the game, and then they nerfed its ult like out of nowhere.
Yeah, I don't think Cram needed that nerf.
I don't either.
Like, I think Cram was probably one of the best lane mages, probably still is, to be honest, but it just
falls
doesn't
off
do
now,
what
it
it
feels
did now.
like.
Yeah, it's like the Cram ult, it's not as scary now.
Yeah.
I feel like Cram ults and you just burst it down, and it's still got the crazy CC, right? And like the dive build is really fun. It's really fun. I don't know how viable it is, but
the way I see it is that like the game power crept on the mobile release with more damage. Like the whole game went up in damage, it feels like. And then they nerfed Cram's ult. So it's like Cram takes a step back, and then the damage in the game takes a step forward and goes like higher.
Yep.
So now you have this immobile ulting bird that has like no way to do as much damage and no way to stay alive. So it's like I don't think Cram is bad. I think he's like really, really high B tier or low A tier kind of a Pokemon, but he's just like he's not what he once was, you know.
It's not what it once was, yeah. It's unfortunate.
Yep. Speaking of unfortunate, let's talk about Gardevoir. Listen, I think everybody seems to love this character. Like Gavin loves this character. I love this character. You love this character. It's like this character is so incredibly fun to play.
Future Side, man. Future Side.
Future Side is nasty. I will give you that. I like Psyshock because I just feel like it's more consistent right now. But the real problem, and I do think that like if they were to buff, it's the early game. It's the curve to her ultimate.
It's Rolls,
it's
Confusion does
just,
no damage.
There's just no no presence in the early what is it, 5 levels, like 6 levels? Like you have to go
literally nothing.
You just can't do anything. And so then you're forced to put this character in jungle, but that's automatically a problematic issue because there's so many good junglers, and it's like how or why do you play this character? And it's I was talking about this last night. It's opportunity cost, right? Because no one can really say that Gardevoir is not insane in the end game. Everybody knows she is.
The Unite move is unreal.
But the opportunity cost of even trying to run her is usually not worth it. So
yeah, and I always wonder how they would balance it, right? If they buff Confusion too much, like it still needs to be a weak early game, I think, to balance for the late game. But yeah, it's one of those ones that I hope they get to. I hope they fix this character.
Yeah, or like, I don't know, maybe the boosted auto that comes from Teleport could be like a Confusion. Like it's like a Confusion auto. Yeah. So it's like give her some like nice burst in the lane to try to fight for farm, and then I don't know. Would it be too crazy to like slightly nerf her endgame and then pull her down to like that 5-7-9 curve? Like,
no, I think that would be fine. I think that would be fine because once Gardevoir hits Gardevoir, like the next team fight is so in your team's favor.
It's so strong. It's actually strong. I still think that like maybe we could maybe eventually see a competitive team really lean into Gardevoir, like even in her current state now, but I think it's just risky, and that's why nobody's doing it.
It's just so easy to invade, I think, is the problem at the moment.
If you put her in jungle for sure, and if you're trying to like force her into a lane, then you have to deal with that problem. So, but yeah, Greninja. How do you feel about Greninja right now?
I don't know. I feel like Greninja still does so much damage. You can definitely feel the less health. Greninja is easy to take care of now.
That's the biggest thing, yeah.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing, but I still think it's a solid pick. It's not what it was. It was literally the dominant Pokemon of the game for a while, but it's definitely still very solid. And I think Water Shuriken is the play now.
It definitely is. Yeah, it definitely is, just because I think like Water Shuriken with Razor Claw is a ton of damage, like just the high DPS of the game. If you get, I mean, even if you don't have like a full clean window to kill an objective, if you get like that, I don't know, 5 to 7 seconds, like they're running toward Dreadnought or something, you can literally burst it before they get there. It's just, it's really strong. I think Greninja's strong. I think he's taken a step down, which is fine. If anything, I think he's balanced. It's kind of interesting.
Yeah, he's where I kind of want most characters to be right now. I want to be around that spot where Greninja feels. I think that's a good spot.
Yep. And then Ninetales. It's so funny. Cram Ninetales fit in this category to me where they were like insane, and now they're just like okay.
Yeah, Ninetales is so incredibly frustrating to lane against. In the
early. Yeah, the first 4 levels of Ninetales are just like why is this happening to me? What did I do wrong like to deserve this? Ninetales is like what Pikachu should be, kinda. Yeah. It's like I'm actually insanely strong in the early game. Mid game I'm strong. Late game I slightly fall off. Like because Ninetales, like I don't know, the ultimate in the late game it feels like it does nothing. Like you Ninetales ult the team fight and you're like I got them all, and you're like, what happened? We're all dead.
And then Unite, you get a lot of damage off, but it's hard to consistently hit that if you're not running the freeze build, which is not really the optimal way to play. So I guess with Mamoswine, it kind of does well. But yeah, Ninetales falls in that spot of being a carry with no carry potential.
Yeah,
if that makes sense.
exactly. When I play Ninetales, like when I'm solo queuing, I feel like, wow, I'm doing so good, and then it's like I have no influence on this game. Like I can do as well as we're doing, which is, you know, that's kind of be expected. But we lightly touched on Pikachu.
Yes.
I think this character is so simple though. Like they just need to up the end game like efficiency, the end game potential of the character, and really this character could be a monster. Like it could be
like the
early
game needs no buffs.
No, nothing.
Buffs.
But I don't even want it to lose like any of the early game too. Like I want it to just be a little bit more viable in late game. Because dude, when you have a Pikachu that's got a full rotation of abilities and the ultimate, like something's dying. It's actually pretty strong. So
yeah, it is solid. Yeah, I definitely like that. Maybe even like, I don't think cooldowns is the answer, like Electro Ball more, but I think just maybe damage numbers. Maybe just tweak the damage numbers.
Yeah, so when I talked to Spraggles about Pikachu, like I did say like I could see them doing something with cooldown where it's like you leave the damage exactly the same and then you pump a lot of cooldown reduction into it, so that way you're just doing more. That could feel cool. Or I mean, the simple fix is really just like, let's just make some stuff do some more damage, like scale it into the late game better, scale the Pokemon's SP value higher in the late game, and then honestly that would probably be enough.
Yeah, and that's an easier change for them to make too, so it's more realistic.
Probably. Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, you don't really have to think about it. You just, when you up a number, you know the numbers go up. So
yeah.
Sylveon, post-nerf Sylveon still feels insane. I feel like the character feels safe. Like the character's a really safe pick. And
your cooldowns are always up.
Yeah, and the character is like, and I don't remember who we were talking about this the other day. It's like it's like some competitive player said like this is like the only true mage like in the game right now, and that's kind of how it feels. Like Grammar and Ninetales just have too many issues when you could pick Sylveon, and I feel like Sylveon is like the true mage attacker of this game.
Yeah, Sylveon is incredibly strong. As you know, I'm very happy about the nerf. I'm very happy. But Sylveon is incredibly strong. Hyper Voice feels incredible. I do think they over nerfed Mystical Fire. I do think that got a little over nerfed. Yeah. But Sylveon still feels great. Having a Unite move level 8 is incredible. It's incredible on an attacker.
I think, you know what would be really cool for Mystical Fire is if they, I don't know, if they could add some kind of like multipliers where it like does, you know, X amount of damage to players, but then does like Y amount of damage to like wild Pokemon. So that way it has like more use. Because,
I'd love to see that.
Because you can't do anything. Like beads come up and you pop your Mystical Fire and it's like, cool, like I did nothing. Like I don't know. Like, so that doesn't feel good in lane either, you know? So
but one thing on Sylveon I'd love to see is, so Swift in the main games can't miss. So I would like to see Swift to be more like Mystical Fire. Yeah. You know what I mean? Where the stars are around you and then they leech onto an enemy, because it's so silly that it's so hard to hit and it cannot miss in the main games.
I feel that. I feel like, so usually I'm the like, lore doesn't matter, but like that actually just seems fine to me, because Swift is kind of annoying. Swift is kind of annoying. So speaking of annoying, we can talk about Venusaur. I'll let you start. I mean, we can keep it simple. Like I just think it's so simple. It's just so silly how long this character has been the way that it is.
This character, like when I play Venusaur, Venusaur has what, like 5,600. How much health does Venusaur have? It's got to be like, let's find out. It's got to be somewhere like
6,300 at 15.
Yeah, so 6,300 at 15. I die at level 10 on Venusaur. I look at the damage and I took like 15, 16k of damage to kill me. That's not okay.
It's pretty crazy.
It's sustained is too high.
It is pretty crazy. I mean, I think the reality is like, it's not the damage that's being dealt, it's the sustain that allows the character to stay alive so long that does the damage. So it's the Petal Dance Giga Drain cooldown reduction that's being applied that keeps Giga Drain way too up for too long, and if they tune that back, I think the character's instantly fine, because the Sludge Bomb and like Solar Beam build, it's solid. It's really good. I've played it. I've won with it. It's Giga Drain Solar Beam, for example. Yeah, I like the buffs that they did. I just think the cooldown thing is a bit much. So
yes, I completely agree on that.
All right, so let's move to Speedsters. Let's talk about Absol. Absol got some pretty sizable buffs in the last patch. Yeah, and then Razor Claw kind of influencing the item meta as well. What do you think about Absol right now?
I don't have much Absol experience. It's a character that I tried when the game first came out, and I stomped in like standard games. Yeah. And I took it into ranked, and I felt like I did nothing in team fights, so I kind of put it down. So I don't have too much to say about it, but from what I've seen, it seems to be performing a lot better.
Yeah, I think that Absol is like the Ninetales cram of Speedsters. Like it's like this character's good, it can do quite a bit, and then it's just like, oh, I'm falling off like really hard. Like and that was always Absol's problem. Like you had 2 minutes. You had 2 minutes to perform really well, and then moving from minutes 2 to 3 where you're going to Dreadnought, you're useless for the rest of the game. And it doesn't feel like that anymore, so that's really good. Like, I actually like playing Absol, but like, we do viewer customs on stream, and I even picked Absol, like in the viewer customs, I still felt useless because it was so coordinated. And I was just like, dude, this character just struggles so hard.
It's so hard to get in and out.
The Unite move on Absol is like not good for fighting, but it's really good for stealing objectives. It's so weird. It's like it prioritizes objectives, but it doesn't do any damage. It's so
like
weird.
The most jukeable move in the game too. Like, you can just walk to the side out of that so easily.
It should just be like a circle, and it should just be like slashes of a circle. I don't know.
Like it runs in a circle.
But it's funny. I think Absol is another thing that's like just a little easy to fix. Like, it just needs to scale a little better. Maybe I do think that it is always going to be that this is the truest assassin in the game. It is like I need to find one person and take them down.
It feels like the flanker, the real assassin.
You know who doesn't feel like a flanker or a real assassin at all is Gengar.
I played this in one of our games yesterday, and I felt so useless in every team fight. I'd throw a Shadow Ball, I would teleport into one person, and then I couldn't do anything.
Dude, I couldn't do anything. I can already read the comment that we're gonna get about how good the character can be if you play it right, and it's just like, no. The character
just doesn't have the
Sludge
tools.
Bomb, Hex, Shadow Ball, Dream Eater. There's two. What I find with this character is not that those abilities and those combinations of abilities are bad. It's the in between them. There's no mid fight. You get 0 mid fight. So you either jump in and Sludge Bomb, Hex, and kill like 1 or 2 people if you're lucky, or you jump in and then you die, or you Shadow Ball, Dream Eater and do like a double Shadow Ball combo and then you kill something, or you jump in, you do your combo, it doesn't die, and then you stand there and die. So it's like it's literally the Absol problem of last patch, where you go in and then not enough happens for you, and then you're just standing there, and it's like, I can't do anything anymore. So it's weird.
It's got 2 ways of being played. It's got like the needs to 1v1, like Shadow Ball Dream Eater is like I need to 1v1 you kind of kit, and then Sludge Bomb Hex it's more AoE, but with the amount of crowd control in this game, like even with full heal, you're going to die. you're not getting through all that,
and maybe this is me, but I just feel like Hex is like so messy to use. Like the
auto targeting and
the auto targeting on it pulls me, and I'll hex the wrong person, and like I'm trying to do it fast because like you have to, and it's like I don't know. It's just this character is definitely struggling. I think that like really the realistic reworks are like changes that could be made is like more mobility, more uptime on the abilities. I want a better passive, dude. Needs a better passive. The idea that I spitballed to Spragels is like, I would love to see this character get like multiple charges at some point, like maybe on the upgrade, like dude, having double Shadow Ball or like 2 hexes would be huge. Like it would change the character a lot.
Actually poke,
you could poke, and that wouldn't make it a good laner, but that it would help with it would help with not needing to be committal on every decision you make, because right now if you do anything on a character, you have to go in and you just pray that something dies, and it doesn't, and then you die. So
yes, definitely.
But let's talk about Talonflame. Talonflame is nuts. Question for you: OP or not? I know what I think.
I'm gonna say no, just because I think it can be peeled off really well if the team's playing well. But in a solo queue environment, maybe.
I think Talonflame is what all speedsters should aspire to be. I think Talonflame is balanced. I think the damage, when the damage hits you and you're like, oh my god, I just got all in by Talonflame, I'm dead. It's like, that's a speedster. That's a speedster. Like that's what they're supposed to do. The necessary burst. I like that a lot. He brings like good AoE to the table, but he's not Zera Aura, and he can execute, and he's got a Unite move that hits. The way his kit with his Unite move works too is really cool, because you kind of just go in and you throw the Unite move, and you get that Unite move so fast that it's like you get so many of those, but it's not the most impactful, but it can win a fight. So
I think what balances Talonflame the most is the fact that it can burst down enemy Pokemon really well, but it cannot solo objectives really well. Like Talonflame's never gonna go just like solo the Dreadnought.
Yeah, no,
it's
gonna take it would take too long. Yeah, I mean he could, but yeah, and dude, like Brave Bird or Fly, like this character doesn't have a bad build choice. You have no bad build choice, which is so cool. And I think
Razor
this
Claw
character,
was a huge buff to this character.
Yeah, Razor Claw was a huge buff. The buffs that they made, they literally made a useless character like the pinnacle of balance for a class.
Yeah, and it makes me really happy because when the game first came out, I picked Talonflame as my starter. And I enjoyed its playstyle. I was like, this Pokemon's really fun. But I don't know if when the game first started, you couldn't do anything until level 7. Your early game was useless, and then you still didn't do much. And it's really good to see it in a good spot. It actually makes me really happy. I love this Pokemon.
All right, Zera Aura. What do you think? Same question, like OP or not?
It's hard to say because I think if they did nerf Discharge, it would be bad. So I don't know where it sits. I'm not sure. Maybe a small enough to Discharge because this Pokemon literally.
I think you do like a 2 to 5% nerf on Discharge.
Yeah, like really small.
Because it is incredibly AOE. So it's like you're doing it's the Blastoise problem, right? Like it's not that the move just does too much damage. It's just that it does too much damage to a bunch of people at once.
To everybody.
So
yes.
I think I think it has to be understood that if they did nerf Zera Aura, it needs to be very small, very small nerf.
Very small nerf.
Of all the other moves, I'm comfortable with all of them in their place, like Spark, Volt Switch, Wild Charge. I feel like they all have some kind of use. Obviously, Discharge is the
Wild Charge.
Exactly. Yeah, I was gonna say obviously Discharge is the better option more often than not, but that is not because Wild Charge is bad. It's just because Discharge is really, really good.
Yeah, it's insane. And the Unite move.
But yeah, I lean much more to Zera Aura feeling balanced than feeling OP. Like I feel like if I had to call it, I would say it's closer to balance.
Yeah, I'd love to see Absol and Gengar brought up to the level of the other two speedsters. I would love to see that.
Agreed, yeah. Because the reality is you're not going to only one of them can lane, which is Zera Aura, which is a big benefit to the character. But not all speedsters are going to be able to lane, and that is in itself kind of a balancing tool because you're not going to have like 3 OP speedsters and put them all on a team, most likely. I don't think we'll ever see a meta like that, but it also could happen, so you never know.
Is it a bit too much of a hot take to say that I think Absol could probably lane better than Ralts?
I don't know. Probably not, but I don't know. I have to think about that for a little bit. All right, let's hit the supporter category with let's just do a dual discussion. Talk Blissey Eldegoss. What are you thinking? What do you like about them? Why do you pick one over the other, or just in general thoughts?
Yeah, I think they're both so similar. Like they both offer healing, shields, and movement speed. Right? They both offer very similar things. I think in the current meta, Eldegoss is a lot stronger. Leaf Tornado is incredible. People seem to forget that it can also block basic attacks, which is really helpful against Cinderaces.
I forget that all the time, yeah.
Yeah, but Blissey, Helping Hand, incredibly strong. Unite Move, incredibly strong. Like, you can't go wrong with either one of these Pokemon on your team.
Yeah, I think it's the simplest way of putting it is that, like, yeah, I also do agree that I think Eldegoss is better right now. But it's preference, it's team comp, it's how do you and your group want to play it, or if you're just solo queuing as a support, which one do you prefer? Because at this point, if you're solo queuing as a support, which, you know, bless you,
we need more people like
you're a true hero. Like, if you're solo queuing as support, I don't care which one you pick. Like, if you're on my team, brawl out, you know what I mean? Pick your favorite, do whatever you want to do, and you're going to bring a lot of value to the team. So both Unite moves are great. Both they have great ability choices. It's not like even if Eldegoss picked the knock-up one that I can't think of, I still wouldn't be that upset. I think Cotton Guard's better, but I still wouldn't be that upset.
Cotton Spore, I think it's called.
Yeah, I think so. And then there's Mime.
It's not a support.
I mean, he's not a support, but he's not an attacker. But he's not like an all-rounder. No. But he's kind of a tank. But he's kind of like an SP all-rounder. And then the damage is kind of like an attacker. It's like, dude, what the hell is this thing? No, he's
carry
nuts.
a lane as Mime. It's crazy.
No,
like,
I think from the perspective of like design, if Mime wasn't a support, they would have to make a whole battle type for it. It would have to be like Disruptor or something. So for what he is, and for the way that I see them clumping the roles, like attacker is both types of attackers, right? They didn't split the roles for like SP and attack. I think that he fits in this category. I feel like it makes sense because there's gonna be more of him too. That's the reality. There's gonna be more supports that do that same thing, and that's kind of exciting and cool because again, it allows you to look at the character and make a decision about how you and your group of people want to use it. I mean, we see people playing Mime as tank, and that is that's a unique thing. So I like this character. I feel like this character is incredibly balanced, and I feel like it feels strong but not ridiculous.
Agreed. I love Mr. Mime. I think it's so much fun, and Confusion is a crazy power spike at level 4.
Oh yeah,
but it stays like that for the rest of the game. It doesn't keep getting stronger, you know. Like it's
really the Unite move is what wins me over. Like it's so annoying. Like it's like when there's a Mime against us and we have to play against that, I'm just like, like, oh my god, dude, leave me alone, bro.
You can't group, and even if you don't, he'll chase you around individually, and it's really strong, really strong.
I'm just gonna keep doing this. My little segue. Speaking of annoying, we have Wigglytuff. If you sing me, I will find you. Dude,
Wigglytuff, dude. They nerfed Sing, remember?
Yeah, they nerfed Sing, totally. No, it's funny though, because like this character's just good. Like it just is good.
It's solid.
Crazy Unite move, crazy CC, brings decent damage to the table. Like it. I mean, and rollout's not bad. Let's. I don't want to. I never want to. I love rollout. I don't ever want to dance around the fact that rollout's not. It's not the best choice in my opinion. I think Sing is just that good. But if rollout can clap.
The way they spoke about, I think rollout would take over because rollout is really strong.
Yeah. So I mean, what do you? So I'm gonna do the same thing. Like Wigglytuff, like OP or nah? Like.
No, I think Wigglytuff's a character. Like after the nerf, especially, that's in a really good place. It's not the top tier Pokemon, but like, there's nothing to really make this character better without making it broken, right? It's in a really good spot.
I feel like it's in a really good spot.
Pokemon. Yeah, really solid. All right. Frustrating, but solid.
Now let's save the best category for last, which I did on purpose. We're talking all rounders. My favorite category. Let's just lead off with Lucario. I know we've done everything else in alphabetical order per the category. Let's lead off with Lucario. I'm going to hit on this one. I think the only reason this all-rounder is viable is because it is incredibly overtuned in like everything it does. It has crazy mobility. It has really high damage in the early game. It has a shield passive at, what is it, under 50% health? Is that when it procs?
I believe so.
Yeah, so it has a shield passive that scales with its damage, that's just I've never seen that in MOBA design ever, so that's kind of crazy. It has it's got a decent Unite move that's really used for like the benefit of like the stem and whatever little damage it can do. So the Unite move, it's so crazy to think that this character is as strong as it is, and it doesn't even have like a super like annoying Unite. Like it's just the Unite's just kind of there, and you use it how you need to use it. This character, in my opinion, is viable because its mobility and its ability to stay alive.
Yeah, to really stay alive. It's just crazy to me that if you look at the all-rounder design, this Pokemon in particular has the most mobility, the most damage, and the most survivability all on one character.
Yeah, it has everything that. Well, is it too much, or is it that the other all-rounders were like not designed well early enough to make it to their strength? Because I think that most of the all-rounders, except for Garchomp, who we'll talk about in a second, this is a whole like a discussion on its own where we're basically saying, and this is what I call it, the all-rounder problem. The all-rounder problem is you have to exclude Lucario. They don't have anywhere to go but jungle, which is like not their best spot. And if you put them in lane, they just get pooped on, man. Like they can't move, they can't step into bees to get farm. When they do, they have no way to get out. They have no dash. So then, you know, when Talonflame or Cinderace come out of the jungle with red buff on, you know, that Gibble lane, you're dead. Like you can't get out of there, and you don't really have the ability to poke. So it's like, do they need to give like some kind of a dash move to every single one of these characters, or could they do what I had like originally said, where it's like beef them the hell out in the early game? I want all rounders. Like actually, I'm gonna look at this really quickly. I'm gonna look at the stats of 2 Pokemon. I'm gonna look at Snorlax level 5 or level 4, and I'm gonna look at Garchomp level 4. So load for me. So Garchomp level 4 is 3,300 health essentially, with 110 defense and 82 SP defense. Snorlax is 44,000, like almost 4,100 if I'm rounding up. So like like just shy of like 1,000 over the health. 110 defense to 154, so Snorlax beats him in defense, and then SP defense is 106 and Garchomp's is 82. So it's clear that Snorlax is way tankier in the early game, and that makes sense, right? But because of the way that these characters struggle to lane, what if they were essentially the same level of tankiness, and then the curve for all rounders was just really slight? So like
Yeah,
the
I
tank
could see
curve,
that.
the tank curve is consistent because they're tanks the whole game. But if the all-rounder curve was like really high and then like slightly like mellowed out, I think that could be a really good balancing tool. Not because, and the crazy thing is I don't think that would make them OP. I think it would actually pull them into lane. Like I think it would make it to where it's like, okay, yeah, because like have you ever fought a Gible in lane when they get max stacks? It's actually terrifying. It's actually terrifying. The problem is that rarely happens.
Yeah.
So I would love for that to happen.
I think with the all-rounders, if Lucario was toned down in every aspect just a little bit, in this solo top meta, I think we could see things like Machamp and Charizard. We wouldn't see Garchomps, but I think we could see things like Machamp. You know what I mean? Like, if Lucario wasn't so overwhelming.
So that's the thing. I'm actually worried that that's still like not enough to fix the problem, though. Like, I feel like they have to bring them up. I think that, don't get me wrong, I think that Lucario needs to come down. And I've actually even said that I think half of Lucario's OP nature comes from scoring. Like, I really think that scoring is an issue for Lucario and not necessarily just Lucario.
He just gets so ahead.
Imagine trying to do score shield attack weight things with Garchomp. Like you don't have the mobility to do it. So it's like, it's not that Lucario is broken. I think that scoring is overpowered and overtuned, and he has the kit that enables him to take advantage of it. That's really what it is.
Definitely.
So I do think that the all-rounders could come up in buffs. Now let's hit on them like really specifically, I suppose, because we should do that. Charizard, what are your thoughts on Charizard right now?
I love Charizard in the jungle. I think Charizard's really fun. I think Charizard's actually decent in the metagame if Venusaur was a little bit less Venusaur. But I like Charizard a lot. I would love to see a better early game. It's got that interesting, unique basic attack, right? The mid-range, which is really cool. And I think the Unite move, I'm one of the people that likes the Unite move change. I know a lot of people don't, but I actually really like the Unite move quite a lot. And I think it's a solid character. I think if its defenses were boosted in the early game, that Charizard in lane would actually be very terrifying.
I mean, I agree. I think that Charizard is like a tiny change from viable. I don't know if you agree, but I think he's the second best all-rounder right now. I think him and Machamp are definitely like they're teeter-tottering the line together, but I do think he kind of beats Machamp out a little bit right now.
I think after the flamethrower increase and the Fire Blast cooldown reduction, that Charizard just went over Machamp.
And the Unite move, it is different, but it's still solid. Like it's incredibly good. I like it because I can do something different with it, and also because it actually makes Energy Amp viable, which for me is like a giant core part of my build for Charizard. So I really, really like his current state now, but if he got buffed to truly be viable, I think he'd be
just
incredible.
Don't buff the
damage. I don't think he needs, that's the crazy thing. I don't think he needs damage buffs. I just think he needs to be able to just do a little bit more, which is like lane. And like, again, when you have characters that are locked to jungle, they're only a third of the map is available to them. So that does hurt viability for sure.
For sure.
Machamp, I actually feel like Machamp is incredibly good, but I think it's the same thing. Like if he could lane, he would.
I think Machamp needs some kind of sustainability because Machamp is a very like get in and get out. He plays like a speedster with all-rounder stats, if that makes sense. It's get in, get out, and I think it should be able to stay in. I just that's my thought on it anyway.
Yeah, I wonder how you could like build in a shield to him or something, because I don't want it to be super cheesy where like every all-rounder just runs in and has a shield on, but like how could you build in the sustain? Like maybe, I don't know, I'm trying to think of like what to
dynamic
do.
punch, punches afterwards give healing, like more healing or something, maybe like increase lifesteal or something, because you do stick to people a lot, so maybe that could be helpful.
Yeah, I mean, maybe does he have like lifesteal stats?
Yeah, he's passive lifesteal, yeah.
He does have passive. Maybe they could just up that a little bit and see what it feels like whenever you're truly just like pulling some of your own health back in, you know what I mean?
For sure.
Pulling some health back in. Because I think he's so close, right? Like it's the same thing with Charizard. Like so close to
the kid is great.
Yeah.
The kid is great.
Or maybe even like just throw some passive lifesteal, like throw an initial 5% on his passive, like maybe, and he just starts the game with like 5% lifesteal. That could be really interesting, and then that would push him up to 20% lifesteal in the end game.
I think it's the second best laning all-rounder at the moment, just because bulk up's safe.
I agree. Yeah,
you're unstoppable and you're fast. And that's
I agree. It's funny because it's not like you get a lot of opportunities to do it, or that it's that good. But for the sake of discussion, for anybody wondering, there are games where you can like throw Machamp in like solo top lane, and if he's not being crushed by like a duo lane, like it's actually pretty good. And actually, I'll say the same thing for like Greninja Cinderace. If you ever get a solo lane with Greninja Cinderace, you're actually pretty good. It's really interesting how something like that can change.
Very much so.
Poor Garchomp. I don't want to give him too much time because we're definitely going to be wrapping up here soon. But This character just needs a lot of love. I think that he's too slow in everything he does, literally in move speed to keep up with people. He's too slow to ramp up his stacking, like attack speed. He just needs some nice quality of life changes, and I think the character will be pretty solid. And then same deal, right? Like if they do want to give him viability in lane, I really do think that the solution is to beef them up. I think that could be such a benefit to them in the early game.
Yeah, if Garchomp gets the ability to get its stacks off, like get to its maximum stacks, it's a threat, and it just needs help getting there. I think that's all it really is.
Yeah, I was sitting here thinking about the Unite curve too, and like again, I'm always going to be the person that really just wishes everybody had like a curve of like 5, 7, 9, but I know that's not necessarily realistic, and it probably won't get changed. But if he is going to stay that level 10 ultimate kind of user, they definitely got to give him some love in the early game.
Definitely.
That's how I'm feeling about it. So that's like all the Pokemon. I'm super excited to see how they continue to bring more out, and it's funny to me. I feel like this is an interesting question. Of the different battle types, which one do you think is the best battle type? Because I know what I think is the best. I was thinking Defender. Defender is the best, and if it's not Defender, it's probably Supporter. And if it's not Supporter, it's probably Attacker. Because dude, every Defender is good in their own way. And the thing for me is that I really don't feel like a lot of people see this yet, but I think that off tanking is incredibly strong. Like having like a damage off tank, I think that you could even throw them in jungle. There's not a lot of reasons to right now because the jungle is being dominated by level 9 ultimate users. But dude, like even like putting like Blastoise in jungle if you're running like a Snorlax in lane, or like Mamoswine, he's a level 10, so it's not you're not going to get a Unite move. But
that's really interesting that people don't really run is Scope Lens X is a jungle Crustal. That is terrifying.
That was like the original damage build on him. Like people used to run that originally. And that truly is a team fight Crustal. Like that's not the split push Crustal. So I mean, there really could be like more of that in the game that just hasn't been seen yet. So it's really interesting to see. I don't think we've even seen everything that could be done with the current roster in the game yet. Like there's still so much that like teams probably could be experimenting with, but I understand they're trying to just improve and be the best. So they're probably just playing what feels great like right now and not what feels good and see what they can do.
The game's so new,
but there's
there's so much to learn.
Dude, we're gonna look back at a video like this and like 3 to 6 months and it's going to be completely different. So
100%. It's already different from a month ago,
Exactly. Well, Luche, this has been an awesome episode, man. Can't wait to do the next one because we're about to keep recording. So friends, check the link in the description, check the link in the pinned comments. Go drop Luche a sub. The guy's working hard, putting out some great content. Looks incredibly handsome as well. And yeah, you guys know the deal. Be sure to be kind to one another. Tell someone you love them, and we'll see you on the next video.